Kia ora koutou, welcome to this week's live. This week has mostly for me been preparing for next week's book launch. Next week looks really different for me than it actually did or was planned, and obviously most of that is due to COVID-19 and lockdown. And it's interesting because I was due to speak at 2 conferences, launch the book in 2 cities, lots of events, lots of travel, and of course now I get to stay home and do the book launch from the comfort of my own home, potentially in my pyjamas. That's on Tuesday night. We do have a capacity, even though it's online. The Zoom room will only hold 100 and we are pretty close to that. So if you want to be at that book launch, I'll pop the link in this live, because I'm pretty sure unless you book before this weekend is over, that will probably be full. So really looking forward to that and getting the book out there as well. Obviously when you write a book, it's a long time coming before it actually gets out there into the world, so excited about that. One of the things I wanted to pick up on today was this week I was speaking on a panel about leadership and courage in times of challenge, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we're in times of challenge right now. It's uncertain, we're having to do things differently, there's a lot of challenges that are presenting themselves both in our work situations and home as well. And I want to talk about a couple of things I spoke about on that panel in case you missed it. And one of them is leadership itself. One of the comments that we all discussed as part of the panel is that we are all leaders. We lead ourselves, we often lead our families, our communities, maybe our technical expertise we stand up and lead with. So it's not necessarily having a leadership title or a team of people behind you when we talk leadership. It's how we stand up. And of course, when we enter times of challenge, that takes courage to stand up. And that was a subject that we talked about on the panel this week. And one of the things when we talk about leadership, or when I talk about achieving our potential and progressing in our career, for me, potential has 2 sides. It has the belief that we have potential, belief in awareness of our strengths, but also belief in ourself and our self-efficacy. And then the other side of that potential is the energy to deliver on that potential. So that's where our resilience and self-care and all that stuff comes in. And then when you overlay that with times of challenge and times where additional courage is needed, one of the things that we talked about on the panel was the comfort zone. And I want to relay my thoughts on comfort zone because it so often comes up. It comes up when we talk about imposter syndrome. It comes up when we talk about goal setting. It comes up when we talk about how we align our values and our strengths to our careers and our development. Basically, anytime we are growing and developing as people, we're often having to get outside of our comfort zone. And when we do this, it takes courage. We face risk. And the thing with our comfort zone, or one of the main reasons we're so fearful of getting out of it, is the fear of failure. That what if I fail? And that often keeps us frozen to the spot. But here's where failure becomes a bend in the road rather than the end of the road, because when you get outside of your comfort zone, one of 2 things will happen. Either you'll succeed, which is great, or you'll fail, in which case you'll learn something that'll help you succeed the next time around. So either way, it can be a positive. And what happens when we do this, when we get out of our comfort zone, when we learn new things, we prove ourselves competent. And with that comes confidence. So whatever it is you're putting off, you're dreading, you need to try for the first time. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but one of 2 things will happen. You'll succeed or you'll fail, and that'll help you succeed next time around. And when we succeed, that competence loop that we get ourselves into, proving we can do it, then makes it easier the next time around, and that then improves our confidence as well. So that's my take on comfort zone, because I feel it's a much more empowering one. It's also much more positive as well. It reduces that fear of failure when we know that often failure can be a stepping stone to success. So I thought I'd leave you with that because it's top of my mind. It's something we just talked about yesterday and something that applies to so many of us, and also is something that I mentioned in the Superwoman Survival Guide. So that's the big thing next week. Next week we also have the Imposter Syndrome 4-week online course starting. That starts on Monday. It's pretty much full, so we've pretty much sold out there. And then, of course, Tuesday, the following day, is the book launch. Again, almost full. So get your spot. I'll pop the link in this live. Get your spot if you want to come along. We've got some giveaways, some prizes, some cool stuff. I'll be reading from the book. I'll be reading from this. And I've got a couple of speakers whose friendships and opinions I value quite highly. So I'm excited for them to share their views on this as well. So I hope you all have a fabulous weekend and look forward to seeing you next week. Mā te wā.